on my journey back, maybe if people leave some comments, maybe I'll stop in Flatwoods and I'll investigate this farm and see if I can find a meteor. Or maybe I'll find a 12-foot tall barn.
I'll tell you what you do. Guys, you get that likes button up to 2,000, and we'll send Wade out there on a solo night hunt at the Sutton farm, out there at the farm to look for the Flatwoods Monster.
Mm-hmm. And I promise you the next day an armed posse will show up too. Pick me off that farm.
All right, guys, welcome to AfterDark Radio. This is our first podcast. This is a podcast about the unexplained, the paranormal, unsolved mysteries, and other things that, me and Wade feel like talking about. So today, Wade, we're going to, keep it here in Appalachia. Wade and I are originally from Williamson. Wade is away in school right now, and he left me all alone here back home. But I am broadcasting you live from the historic Williamson radio building. And so I thought it would just be appropriate that we keep our first podcast, our first video, local and to West Virginia. And I think that we should talk about the Flatwoods Monster.
Well, that's perfect if you want to keep it centrally located, because I think Flatwoods is right in the middle of the state. So that works out well.
So basically, the way I've got this is the aerial view of this whole story, Wade. This goes back to 1952, and this was like right after the UFO craze. I don't know if this was around the time of Roswell. I can't remember what year Roswell was in, but it may have been right around the time of Roswell. But there was a UFO craze going across America at that time, and there's this group of kids. They ranged in age, and they were they were younger kids. There was, Edward May, he was 13 years old. Freddie May was 12 years old. That was Edward's brother. You had Tommy Heyer, he was 10 years old. Neil Nunley was 14 years old. Ronnie Shaver was 10 years old. The mother of Ed and Freddie, which is Kathleen May. And then you had Eugene Lemon. He was 17 years old. He was a West Virginia National Guardsman and a family friend, and they had their dog. So we had that Scooby-Doo gang out here, Wade.
Yeah, that's a full cast of characters. I hope he was in his fatigues when they went out there. I hope everyone's in their stereotypical get-ups.
So basically what had happened, there was a meteor that shot across the sky. I think these two young boys seen it. Is that correct, Wade? The two young boys seen it?
Yeah, I believe the story is they were playing a game of football up there on the hill, like near the family home, and then the fireball shot across the sky. And that report of a fireball captured a lot of attention that night. It was seen several states that going down to the southwest from Maryland, I think, as far away as they saw it. And that got the kids' attention. So, they went and gathered up their mom. And you were right. This is in the Roswell UFO craze. I think Roswell was late 40s. Okay. So this had to be all over the magazines and tabloids of the time.
And so they go get their mother. They go get the family friend who's a National Guardsman at the time. He's 17 years old. I mean, he's 17 years old and a National Guardsman.
52, that's a tough time to be in.
When did anybody even get in 1952? Gather the boys, we're going to war.
Yeah, I think the real fighters were in their Levittown homes, in the suburbs. They were done with all that.
So they gathered up the mother, they gathered up the National Guardsmen, and they head into the hills. And when they head into the hills, Wade, what do they see?
Well, they approach the top of the hill where they have seen it, the fireball land over the crest of it, and suddenly when they get there, they see two powerful light beams pierce through the darkness. And then they turned on their flashlight in that direction. They saw a large man-like creature. Now, the height, they say it was 10 to 12 feet tall from reports at the time and about 4 feet wide. Made no sounds or anything of that nature.
That's a pretty big creature.
Yeah, almost godlike, angel-like. It floated towards them. It had a red face and bright green clothing, and most of the reports describe its head as spade-shaped, like a playing card.
And so what did they do after that? Did they run away, or what did they do? Do you know?
Oh yeah, they took off. The 17-year-old National Guardsman did not put up much of a fight on that battle.
So they went and they reported it to the local sheriff's department.
Yeah, they reported it to the local police, sheriff. They were probably dealing with reports from all over, because I think people were calling state police reporting meteor crash of some sort. You had the local astronomers looking out there trying to figure out what's going on, but no one really knew. And it was a weird sighting. They said it was like the weird metallic odor, and I'm not even sure what that even means when I think of a metallic odor.
I think about that taste whenever you
aluminum.
Yeah, that's why I said aluminum. You know when you like touch your fork to aluminum and then you eat it. You know that kind of like taste you get. That's
I
can't imagine how that would smell.
Bar. It's the hipster bar where they put the mixed drinks in the aluminum cups, and you get a good taste.
So as you said, there was people that seen this fireball from all over. They seen it in Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio. They all reported this bright meteor or fireball streaking across the sky. And not only that, you had the U.S. Weather Bureau and you had the Project Blue Book, both confirmed later that a meteor had passed over that area that night.
Okay. Well, that could happen tonight, I believe. I believe some of the remnants of Halley's Comet is passing.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You don't have clouds there. Yeah, you might be able to see some meteors. It was either last night or tonight. I think both nights you were supposed to be able to see a couple. But it's like the tail of it, the tail of Halley's Comet.
Right. But this incident is not only isolated to this one group that seen it. There was other people who are eyewitness accounts of that they did see something in the sky that night. There was multiple reports from Sutton and Braxton County. Braxton County is where this took place. Flatwoods is inside of Braxton County. You had nearby. Go ahead.
Has a couple names. Did you know that? The Flatwoods Monster.
No.
I think it goes by the Braxton Monster and Braxy. I think that's what they call it.
Braxy.
Let me get a confirmation of
I don't know if I'd be scared of Braxy.
Yeah, it's the Braxton County Monster, Braxy, and the Phantom of Flatwoods. Those are some of the aliases of this creature.
But not only did that group see it that night, you had other eyewitnesses. You had multiple people who've seen the meteor, and you had witnesses in nearby towns like Frametown and Heaters. They claimed to see a low-flying craft and pulsing red lights moving erratically.
I mean, that's probably enough to get people going.
Yeah, there was a farmer in nearby Gasaway. That's about 20 minutes from Flatwoods. Said he saw a bright object land behind the hills and later noticed a strange mist in the air. There was also a group of school teachers traveling through the area and later told investigators they saw glowing lights on the hillside from a distance. And you know what the strange thing about this is? About this group of people seeing this craft land and seeing this creature, that, when they got a hold of the sheriff wasn't immediately available because Sheriff Robert Carr, the sheriff in Braxton County, and Deputy Bernal Long, they were responding to a separate UFO sighting in Frametown at the exact same time the Flatwoods event was going on.
Oh, really? Yeah. So the sheriff was out there dealing with another one.
Yeah. So I mean, this thing kind of has teeth to it, and I guess it's the reason why we talk about it today. Is because it wasn't a group of people out in the woods making things up. We had multiple eyewitnesses' accounts and multiple incidents.
I was thinking that too. When you have a couple towns 20 minutes away, it's not like air travel was necessarily common back then, especially in the mountainous, windy state of West Virginia.
I mean, think of this is 1952. There's modern communication is not there. I'm not even sure they have a telephone. Some of these people have a telephone in their home.
I mean, once you get to there's definitely people in Flatwoods that would have communication and ways to call the cops. But on the farms out in the countryside, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Like, I know my parents didn't have running water till the late 50s.
Oh, yeah.
Something like
same
that.
way. Yeah, mine too. But, skeptics are kind of saying they're trying to explain this away. They're talking about that spade-looking head that you tried to describe earlier, and the clothing. There was kind of there was a show called, let me find the name of it.
Well, that description comes from the 4 children, and I suppose the mom and the 17-year-old.
Right. There was a 1951 film called The Day the Earth Stood Still, and it featured a Gort, and he was a tall metal robot and had a similar fit and build to the silhouette of the Flatwoods Monster. And so that was kind of the craze going on, and like we said earlier, it was during that UFO craze. So when the sheriff got there, there was nothing there, but he could tell that the ground was disturbed, and they talked about smelling this metallic odor.
Yeah, they found the lingering odor and 2 large skid marks and trampled grass. So something was there based on the reports of the sheriff. Speaking of like the craze at the time, it got covered by these, I guess, sci-fi magazines and these UFO enthusiast groups. So newspaper editor Holt Biner said, newspaper stories were carried throughout the country. Radio broadcasts were carried on large networks. Hundreds of phone calls were received from all parts of the country. The press service rated this as the number 11 story of the year that year. So if you think of everything that happens in a year, it was almost top 10. Wow. So people had to be talking about the Flatwoods Monster for just every day after that happened.
I think you have some pictures and articles for us and witness accounts, Wade.
Yeah, I do. I'll read some of these witness accounts. I enjoy it, but it said a bright object crossed the sky and seemed to land on a hilltop of the Fisher farm. And that's the Fishers never made a statement, I don't think, of seeing it. The guy that actually lived there. And we all smelled a strong sulfur-like odor in the air, which made our eyes sting. And then we saw movement from the trees. When I shone the flashlight, I saw a tall figure about 10 feet tall. It had a head shaped like the ace of spades, red-colored face, hollow cheeks, glowing eyes, a body described as dark or greenish black, and what looked like a pleated shirt or robe beneath it. So that does sound like the character from the movie that you were describing. It made a hissing noise. The dog barked and ran away with his tail between his legs. We all turned and fled down the hill. The next morning, investigators found 2 long skid marks, and apparently one of the boys peed himself. If that, if that's convincing,
I'm going to tell you what, Wade. I don't know about you, but if I see a meteor crash behind my house and I see 2 pulsing lights, I'm not going to go investigate. I guess that's just the realist in me.
Oh, you're not going to keep any Reese Pieces on you and go find an ET? Like, you could have an alien buddy.
Yeah. I mean, what about a fireball coming and crashing in the woods and you see 2 pulsing lights makes you want to go to it?
Oh, I'm going.
Are you going?
I'm putting on the headlamp. I'm getting the National Guardsman boy that lives down the street.
And the dog.
And the dog, of course. And we're going to go. We're going to do a little Scooby-Doo and see what mysteries we can solve. But I couldn't imagine the hysteria that had to like capture the community, because it's not like now when people just make up stuff to make up stuff. Like back then, a man would put fake footprints on a beach for a decade straight and convince people of a sea monster. And it's just like one person playing a prank. Maybe this farmer up here, it is Scooby-Doo. Maybe we need to pull the ace of spade mask off and see what's underneath that costume. Maybe
he would have gone away for it if it wasn't for the dog.
if it wasn't for the dog. That's right.
And another theory that the creature, Wade, that the U.S. Air Force Project Blue Book came out, and they ruled it as a meteor and misidentified natural phenomenon. So the government tells you there's nothing to see here.
That's what I think it is. I think this was probably the government. I think they probably crashed a new shiny spaceship or something like that they were working on. Maybe
they have Shaq driving it.
Well, you got to think of the count of it's a mom, like a couple, like 10-year-olds and a 17-year-old. Like, if you're seeing like someone climb out of something, their perception might be a little wrong. It could just be a man in a suit. It could have been Chuck Yeager trying to break the sound barrier. We don't know what was going on up there in the sky.
Yeah, and going back to, we talked about the 1951 film, The Day the Earth Stood Still, featuring that robot named Gort. And a lot of those newspapers back then, when they reported it, they reported the Flatwoods Monster as being a mechanical space robot rather than a living creature.
I don't know. Take a look. Take a look at the guy there.
Yeah, he kind of looks like C-3PO.
It almost looks like motherly to me, like Victorian dress.
And then the spade looking.
And if that's a tree for perspective, they cut down all the big trees in West Virginia.
So you think this person's like 6 foot tall, 5 foot tall?
Just perspective, like how many 5-6 foot across trees do you see?
None.
Because he's supposed to be 4 foot
man.
wide. Yeah, that's
somebody's house.
I'd pay for a whole year.
Yeah. Yeah. The family farm ate for 5 years off that one oak tree.
Yeah, that's the tree Morgan crawled into, and when he discovered the place.
So that spade kind of looks like one of those. Back in the day, like the Aristocats would wear the big popped out things.
Yeah, pop collars. Yeah. So this could definitely be a farm man in his like grandma's dress, just going out there messing with the kids. We have like a report of the sightings here.
So where's the interstate? Oh, I see I-75 now. Okay, so it's just
79.
79. So that's just right off the interstate there.
Yeah. So Flatwoods, I stop there for gas. Mm-hmm. That's about all I do. But you get off the interstate there and you can drive to the town. And you have points of location. Near the town of Flatwoods, you have Point A, which is the municipal building. I guess that's where the sheriff would have been in Sutton, which was pretty far from Flatwoods.
Well, no, remember he was in Frametown, and I don't know where Frametown was from there, but you did have the farmer in Gassaway, and I see Gassaway on the left side of that map that said he's seeing a low flying craft fly and looked like it landed into the woods.
To see it from Gassaway, that's a pretty big distance to see something crash into the woods from that far away.
Looking at the top of the map, I can see a couple mountains there. So from perspective, when he's seen something go over a mountain, it may have looked like from his perspective that it landed.
No, you're right, because the interstate follows the valley through there. Well, probably a man-made valley. But they take it very serious in the Flatwoods. I don't know if you know that. This is a big tourism thing for them. They're all about it.
No, I didn't. They got the Flatwoods Monster Festival, don't they?
Yeah, they have a couple little things and a museum that you can go and visit, which I've never been. West Virginia is one of the like epicenters of people seeing weird things.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
And like every little town has like a museum to something weird that's happened there. There we go. But this is one of many of the creatures that have been reported. And I don't think anyone ever talks about the connection between them.
You think there's more of a connection between all of these? Because wasn't there a UFO sighting or moth? No, was there a UFO sighting before there was the Mothman sighting in Point Pleasant? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, Point Pleasant was the late 50s. That was the bridge collapse.
Man, what were they doing in West Virginia? I don't know. I hate to talk about my state.
Well, there's a lot of military stuff going on here. So if you think about it, it was like the center of like chemical production for like DuPont and those guys doing the experimental chemical research. But you had like the Mothman originates from the armory up in Point Pleasant, and we do have the Air National Guard here, and I'm sure they were flying experimental planes and doing stuff. My favorite place to hike in the whole state is Dolly Sods, and they tested munitions there.
Okay.
So, I don't know. This feels very military to me if something happened. Because I don't think a meteor crashed and all these people saw it, but there was no evidence of a meteor crash. That would imply to me that something crashed and something was moved.
Right. And me too, because especially with the sheriff reporting seeing skid marks.
Yeah, like where did that come from?
They're trying to tell they're trying to explain away the sighting of the creature by saying that it may have been a barn owl that spooked them.
Yeah, 12-foot tall barn owl would spook me too.
Wearing a Victorian dress.
Yeah, I'd be like, we're in trouble, boys. It's going to eat the dog first, so we got to run.
We got cross-dressing barn owl after us.
Yeah, we are in trouble. So, this is one of the original news stories that was put out at the time. This was one of the first ones. I would say it was a glowing monster sought in West Virginia hills. So Sutton, West Virginia, eyewitness accounts of a tall glowing monster with blood red face sulking in the hills divided Braxton County today into two camps, believers and skeptics. Now that's classic journalism. Seven persons said they saw the unearthly being described as the worse than Frankenstein in the hills above Flatwoods, West Virginia, Friday night. State police and a number of residents gathered at the reports as a product of mass hysteria. Police said the eyewitnesses' guess as to the monster's height varied from 7 to 17 feet. The excitement began when two young sons of Miss Catherine May, a Flatwoods beautician, said they saw a flying saucer land on the C.B. Fisher farm near here. Miss May, National Guardsman Gene Lemon, and 5 boys climbed a hill on the Fisher farm to look for the saucer. Miss May and a fire-breathing monster 10 feet tall, a bright green body and blood-red face, bounced and floated towards them. It looked worse than Frankenstein, she says. It couldn't have been human. Lemon, 17, said he thought he saw a possum or a coon until he put his flashlight on the thing. It was then that he saw a monster with a blushing face and green body that seemed to glow. Miss May and Lemon stared and then screamed as the monster duck-walked towards them. All of them fled, occasionally looking over their shoulders. The monster, Miss May said, had overpowering metallic odor that nauseous them. She said they vomited for several hours. Ailey Stewart, co-publisher of the Braxton County Democrat, received the first report from Miss May. The veteran newspaperman organized an armed posse and went to the scene. The odor there, Stewart said, it was the sort of warm and sickening. And then there were 2 places about 6 to 8 feet in diameter where the brush was trampled down. Stewart said that he did not know what to think. I hate to say I believe it, but I hate to say that I don't believe it. Stewart said, those people were scared, badly scared, and I smelled something. Authorities said they believed the flying saucer, which Miss May's son saw, was a meteorite. The incident occurred during a meteor shower over the 3-state area, but no meteor was ever found.
Yeah, how does a meteor just up and leave?
I would say that it doesn't.
So let's just summarize all this real quick. We have a group of people, mostly young kids, and their mom and a National Guardsman. These two boys were playing football. They see this bright object streak across the sky. They go get their mom, and she gets a National Guardsman to go with them, who was a family friend. They go into the woods. They see two pulsing lights, and then all of a sudden they see this creature.
Yeah. He just appears out of nowhere, and they shine the light on him. So the one National Guardsman's account, I thought it was a raccoon or a possum.
But he's 10 foot tall.
10 foot tall. I know, but it's floating, so it might not make noise like that.
And so they say this creature is 10 foot tall, had a shovel head. They leave to go call the sheriff. The sheriff is late getting to them because the sheriff is in another part of the county investigating another UFO sighting.
Yeah.
And so
it seemed like the entire police force was over there checking that out, and there's really no reports on what happened there. That I had on
and
me.
So they come back and they form this militia, this posse, like in Frankenstein.
Very West Virginia. So, if something's wrong, let's all just get guns.
They all got their pitchfork.
Go see.
And then we got a mob together, and we go out into the woods. It's not there, but they can see where those groundsmen disturb. And now we got the government telling us it's just a meteor shower. And
no meteor was recovered.
No meteor was recovered. They see skid marks on the ground. They smell a metallic smell. And the alien you seen was probably a barn owl.
Probably a barn owl. Furthermore, all the descriptions are of movies like characters of the day. First is the just general description of the monster from the day the earth stood still. But all the witnesses are comparing it to Frankenstein, which had to be a popular known film at the time. Or at least the book and like literature and art of it. So they're not describing something that hasn't been created by man.
Right. And they're trying to say this is mass hysteria at the time because in culture we had a lot of the Roswell crash.
This is about a decade after Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, like the radio broadcast that caused mass hysteria. So this is definitely the time people freak out. And if something like this happened today, people are still freaking out. Mass hysteria is not an uncommon.
Oh, but the only difference is it would have been on social media. They would have their phones out and it would have been recorded.
You got to have some plot points to stop that. You got to, it makes everything fuzzy.
All right.
This was the first episode of After Dark Radio here from where you're at, the radio building, and I hope to be there soon. And on my journey back, maybe if people leave some comments, maybe I'll stop in Flatwoods and I'll investigate this farm and see if I can find a meteor. Or maybe I'll find a 12-foot tall barn.
I'll tell you what you do. Guys, you get that likes button up to 2,000, and we'll send Wade out there on a solo night hunt at the Sutton farm, out there at the farm to look for the Flatwoods Monster.
And I promise you the next day an armed posse will show up too. Pick me off that farm.